Today we're making a coconut pineapple pound cake, and I call this my Gran Helen's coconut pineapple pound cake. It is inspired by a cake that she used to make. And we're going to start out by toasting 1 bag of sweetened flake coconut. I like this brand by Baker's. And what I do is I just put it out on a baking sheet on top of some parchment paper and break up all the little clumps and lumps. And then I'm going to put it in the oven and turn the oven on to 325 degrees. So I basically just let this coconut slowly toast while the oven is preheating to 325, because that's what we need to bake the cake on anyway. And we're going to add a whole pound of butter to this cake. So it's going to be 4 sticks of softened room temperature butter. Please make sure it's not too soft. It should look like this to where it's still holding its original shape, and it's not soupy and it's not sloppy, it's not runny. See me tapping it together, you can tell that it's still holding its shape, and that's what you want for room temperature butter. I'm giving the butter a head start with the mixing process, and then to that I'm going to add 3 cups of granulated sugar. And we're going to beat this for probably about 7-8 minutes or so on a medium speed until it gets light and fluffy. And I'll show you that when we get to that part. But yeah, just take your time with this and let this go while we prep the other ingredients. And as you can see, I still got it going. The coconut is still toasted, slowly toasting in the oven. As the oven preheats, we got our butter and sugar mixture creamed thoroughly. As you can see, it's light and fluffy and just about turn almost white in color, as you can see right here. That's what you want. That's how you know it's ready. And once we got that together, we're going to turn this on and start adding our eggs. We want room temperature eggs, 6 room temperature eggs that we are going to incorporate into this batter, 1 at a time. If 2 fall in, that's okay. Don't panic. Just make sure that those 2 are well incorporated into the batter before you add another addition, if that makes sense. Also, don't forget to scrape down your bowl in between additions. This will also help with the mixing process and keep you from over mixing with the mixer. The more you scrape down in between the additions, the better it is. The more thoroughly incorporated your eggs will become. Scrape, scrape, scrape. You can never scrape down too much. And then I also want to say that once you scrape down your bowl and you scrape down at the bottom of the bowl, pick that batter up and turn it over so that what's at the bottom of that bowl is now at the top, and so that can get thoroughly mixed. Right here we have a 1/2 cup of room temperature buttermilk, and we're going to add a few things to it. First, starting with a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then we need a 1/2 teaspoon of coconut extract. And lastly, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of rum extract. This is really strong, so I don't like to use a whole lot of that. And to this mixture, we're going to add, also right here, I went on ahead and pulled my coconut out of the oven. And you can see it's just lightly toasted. I'm just giving it a good mix. So it probably was in the oven maybe about 10 minutes, I would say, at 325. But you do got to keep an eye on it, because you don't want to burn it. And I'm just breaking up the lumps right here. And then we're going to get back to our buttermilk mixture. And to that buttermilk mixture, we're going to add our crushed pineapple. And we're going to add enough crushed pineapple with the juice to the buttermilk to make 1 full cup of liquid. That's what we're going to do. I'm just scooping it out, making sure to get some of that juice as well. And, sometimes that crushed pineapple have a little bit of that skin in there. I like to get that out of there, the husk part of it. Sometimes it's in there, so I just pull it out. But yeah, we want to just put enough in there to make 1 full cup of liquid. And we're just going to get at a mix. And this is what we're going to alternate with our dry ingredients coming up here. So set that to the side. We want 3.5 cups of cake flour. I'm using cake flour for this particular recipe. I don't always use cake flour in all my recipes, but for this particular one, we want to use cake flour, and we're going to use 3.5 cups total, but we're going to add them one at a time, and we're going to alternate them with the buttermilk mixture. So you're going to add a cup of flour, then you're going to add some of the buttermilk mixture, and then another cup of flour, some more of the buttermilk mixture. You get the idea, until it's all well incorporated. And I'm doing this on a low speed. Now, let me just put this disclaimer out there while I got your attention, because somebody always asks me this. The butter that I used in the beginning of this video for this recipe is salted butter. I forget to mention that all the time, because I forget that some people use unsalted to bake, and I always use salted to bake. I've never used unsalted butter for anything. That's just my personal preference. But if you want to use salted, you can. I'm still going to add some salt in here, just about a pinch of salt. That looks like maybe about a half a teaspoon of salt. That's all I'm going to add to that, because the salt is going to balance all of this sweet and also balance all of those flavors that we got going on, and just mellow everything out and just marry everything right together. So that's why I still add just a little bit of salt as well. And we're just mixing up our batter, and it's coming along really nicely here. We're just about done. After I give this another mix, I'm going to scrape down this bowl again. And while I'm scraping down this bowl, I'm just checking for the bottom of the bowl, making sure everything is thoroughly incorporated. You can see me reaching that spatula all the way to the bottom of the bowl and bringing that batter that's at the bottom of the bowl to the top of the bowl to make sure everything is fully incorporated. Now, to prepare our pan, I'm going to take one of the butter liners that I had set aside, and I'm going to use some shortening here, and I'm going to generously grease my pan with the shortening, being sure to get every crevice of this tube pan. And once I get it all greased, I'm going to lightly flour it. Now, I know a lot of people use baking sprays, and you can absolutely use a baking spray that has the flour already in it with this recipe. But what I suggest, this is just me, my little personal preference. If you're going to use a baking spray that already has the flour in it, take a pastry brush and brush the baking spray, and then still dust it with a little bit more flour. That's just my suggestion. If you have a better way of doing it, that's fine. But I'm going to stick, for this particular cake, I just stick to the whole grease and flour method, because that's just the way my grandmother did it. We're going to lightly dust it with flour. And when I say lightly dust it, what you want to do is you want to get a generous amount on there. And then once you get the entire pan covered in the flour, just tap out the excess. Like, really be diligent in tapping out the excess flour. And I have a sheet of parchment down here to catch it all, so it's not all over my counter. And then I just tap it out really well, and this will prevent you from having any flour streaks on the top of the cake if you make sure that you just tap all of that excess out of there. That's just what you want to do. Here, I'm just making sure that I didn't miss any spots, and then I'm going to just tap out the rest. So one thing about it, you don't want to miss any spots. So if you always wondered how to do this, this is how you do it. And you see me just getting all of it out. And then we're going to fill our pan with our batter here. This cake went into the oven at 325 degrees. I want to say, I know that I set the timer for 1 hour, and for the first hour of baking, I will not even open the oven door. Do not even open the oven door before the first hour is up, because you don't want to keep letting air in that oven. You keep that door closed. Once the first hour is up, then, because it depends on if you have a gas or electric. My cake baked for 1 hour and 25 minutes. But when I used to have a gas oven, it used to bake faster. So I would say anywhere from 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 25 minutes. At the 1 hour and 15 minute mark, you want to start checking it. And then if it's not quite ready, just give it an additional 10 minutes. Once you get the batter in the pan, it is important to spread it out evenly and tap it to get the air bubbles out. Okay, so our cake is out of the oven. I let the cake sit in the cake pan for exactly 10 minutes. As soon as it came out of the oven, I set the timer for 10 minutes. And then at the end of the 10 minutes, that's when I flip the cake out. I don't like to do it too soon. I also don't like to wait too long, because sometimes if you wait too long, it'll stick. So 10 minutes seems to be the sweet spot for me. Now we're going to ice and decorate this cake. I forgot to film me making the icing, so I'm just going to tell you what it is. You're going to take 1 8-ounce block of room temperature cream cheese icing, and you're going to blend that with about 3 to 4 cups of powdered sugar. This makes a lot of icing, but you can freeze the excess. If you I already know you're going to have a lot left over, because I made a lot because I had 2 of these cakes to make. So 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese icing. Cream cheese icing. Lord, get your words together, Sofana. 1 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese. 3 to 4 cups of powdered sugar. Then to that, you're going to add enough pineapple juice to get the right consistency. Again, I'm just using the pineapple juice that I had left over out of the can with some of the pineapple. Blend that till you get the right consistency. Spread it on the cake. It is really soupy. It's a very, very soft icing. So what I did is I put mine in the refrigerator while my cake was baking to stiffen it up. And then you already got your toasted coconut. So once you fully ice your cake and your cream cheese icing, then you're going to fully garnish your cake with your toasted coconut, like you see me doing here. And here you got it. It's all dressed and ready to go. This cake is absolutely delicious. And the smell, I'm telling you, the smell while it's baking will just drive you crazy. This is my Gran's coconut pineapple pound cake. I really hope you try it. God bless.